What do you make of Labour's plan? It's been put on the front page of the papers as, typical headline with today is Starmer vows to smash people smuggling gangs, and then buried down a few paragraphs in is the idea that, well, actually it's going to involve accepting huge quotas of migrants from the EU. What do you make of it?
Well, I think obviously we need to see the detail of this and how those arrangements are going to work. But I think broadly speaking, anything that reduces the need for irregular migration, that takes the business model away from people smugglers, and that gets people where they need to be in a planned and safe way so that we can stop this eye-watering expense, these hugely damaging asylum processes. Broadly speaking, that can only be a good thing for the UK.
Right. Okay. Again, you say irregular migration, so illegal. Let's use the word it is, illegal. Breaking the business model of these people smugglers. All of this is predicated on the idea that the people who are currently paying people smugglers to getting on boats to come over here and stay here and claim asylum here, that those people will be able to be processed in Europe once they've arrived on the mainland continent, and that they will all be getting, yes, rubber stamp, thank you very much, of course you can stay here, even though, of course, they arrive here without, well, having been in all those European countries, choosing not, in some cases, to claim asylum there. Sometimes they've actually claimed asylum in each country they've gone through. But you know, for some reason, don't seem to think they're going to be able to stay in those countries. I'm not sure why. They often throw away their documentation. 90% plus don't have documentation. They're young, able-bodied men, largely. What are the odds that these people are going to be approved under that EU system and therefore not be paying the people smugglers? How does that break the people smuggler model?
Well, we have to look at the people that are currently travelling irregularly to the UK via
illegally.
Illegally.
Why do you say illegally? I'm not allowed to travel to France without a passport. I'd be arrested.
You're not a refugee, Julia.
And neither are they.
That's what I was about to say. Under the Refugee Convention, people can travel by irregular means. That's not illegal under the Refugee Convention. And looking at the statistics of the people in the small boats, they are refugees. Overwhelmingly, they go on to receive refugee status.
No, that is not true. I've had people point that out to me again and again. It's not true. A tiny percentage are actually given approval. Most of them are not actually being processed, and a huge number, they're given settled status to remain. They haven't actually been approved as refugees. They haven't had the, yeah, absolutely, you were tortured in Iran, you can absolutely stay. That is not what's happening. That is a false claim that a lot of people in your line of work are claiming, and it's simply not true.
It's true to say that the problem is that none of those people are being processed. From, I think the stats say that.
But do you accept that when you say the vast majority are you accept that that's a false claim?
Of the people that have received a decision, the vast
final decision. But you know as well as I do, the people with the most clear-cut cases are the ones who are going to be sick. But that we're talking about being in single-digit percentages there of the number of people who come over.
There's been, since 2018, only 17% of people that have crossed since 2018 have gone on to receive a determination. So you're right to say that the problem is that those...
Okay, I just want to clarify. Okay, so, this is the situation. You're thinking that these people, they're going to go through the legitimate routes through the EU, they're going to be making their claim there, and then there's going to be 1 million or, I don't know, 3 million in a few years' time. No reason to think this problem is going to get better rather than, we're going to get, better rather than worse. So the EU then says, right, let's say we've got 1 million people like we had last year arriving on European shores. Okay, so France gets this many, Germany gets this many, Italy gets this many, Poland gets this many, and the UK, as part of this deal outside the EU, you get this many, and we just have those people, they arrive here. Are you under the illusion these people are going to arrive here and suddenly be net contributors? They're not going to be eligible for council housing. They're not going to be eligible for unemployment benefits and all the other, even if they get a job, in-work benefits like housing benefit. Why do you think suddenly we're not going to be having to deal with the cost that we've got currently of these people?
Well, presumably people would have the right to work. Having the right to work is critical here. And I can only speak from my own personal experience of working with people in the asylum system who overwhelmingly want to work, Julia. They come here because they have family here, they speak English, or they have links or ties here, and they want to rebuild their lives here. Ultimately, there are better systems, Julia, that enable people to be economically active and part of our country.
Are they going to be net contributors? Having someone working in a car wash on minimum wage is no use whatsoever to the British people. Oh, sorry. Are they all mechanical engineers and brain surgeons? Are they? Because that's what we keep being told.
Some of them may be. I don't know the demographic of everyone in the asylum system, Julia, come on. But you have to admit that we're housing people in a system that doesn't give them the right to work for years.
Well, no, I wouldn't have them here for years. I'd actually expect people at the Home Office to turn up to work occasionally.
What's the argument against letting people work and get on with their job?
Because letting people work, they're competing with other people on low wages, and that's bringing their wages down.
Unemployment, Julia.
What?
Who are they competing with? We have mass unemployment. We need workers. We need people.
We don't have mass unemployment in that sense. No, they're going to be competing. No, we saw what happened when we were in the EU in terms of that impact on people on low wages in competing for those jobs, because you basically normalise them in the system. They're not supposed to be here. The solution to people being here for 2-3 years without working is that they shouldn't be here for 2 or 3 years. And the other solution to that is they shouldn't be here at all.
Just let them work. That's what people want to do.
But we don't want those people here.
But as an economy, surely, we need people working.
We do need people working, but are you under the illusion that someone working in a car wash on minimum wage is a net contributor to this country?
Refugees have worked in all sorts of professions in the UK and continue to do.
The vast majority of the young men coming across on those boats right now are not net contributors and never will be. One of them might start a new Google. It might happen. I'm thinking it's probably statistically unlikely.
They're languishing in an asylum system that is costing us a fortune and is hugely damaging to them. It's clear that we need another.
They could languish in a tent in Calais. It's their choice.
We need another solution here. We need different approaches. So far,
but the solution is that we just take more of them.
Jet skis, wind machines, Rwanda, barges, barracks, volcanic islands, my understairs cupboard. Let's shove a few refugees in there. Or let's think differently. Let's think about the reasons that people want to be in the UK.
I don't care why they want to be here. I'm sorry, we don't run our country or run our borders based on how many people want to come here and why they want to come here. The British people decide that. They've decided in election after election they don't want mass immigration to this country, legal or illegal.
We're not talking about mass immigration, the numbers...
You don't think 120,000 isn't mass?
There's been over 200,000 Ukrainian visas granted.
Temporary visas to women and children, our allied nation, while they're living here temporarily while their husbands and fathers fight against Vladimir Putin. Yes, funnily enough, the British people are happy to take those people in.
Why?
Oh, well, probably because we're racist and they're white is probably the next argument. Because we are a nation of good people who want to help our neighbours. Women and children fleeing Putin's bombs and needing somewhere safe while that war takes place, while their husbands and fathers and sons are fighting against Vladimir Putin, is not remotely the same as someone coming from the other side of the world deciding, I live in a rubbish basket case country, I think I'll just make my way to Britain and it's my choice where I live. That's not how it works.
There are people that die in the Channel that are from Afghanistan, that are fleeing war. Exactly the
they're
same
not
way.
fleeing war when they're in France. They're fleeing war in Afghanistan. Yes, we should be. Anyone who works as an interpreter should be here legally.
Why are there no Ukrainians in France?
Why are there what?
Why are there no Ukrainians in France?
There are Ukrainians in France.
In terms of trying to cross on small boats, because they have a visa. What we're talking about here is the provision of safe routes and a visa management system.
Safe routes for desperate people.
If you want managed borders, Julia, look, I get it. You want border control. I'm not sitting here saying...
Do you not?
No border control.
Aren't you?
What I'm saying is, if you want managed borders, if you want border control, then you have to get a grip on the safe routes crisis. This isn't a boat crisis. It's a safe route crisis, Julia.
But people in this country said, we don't want her off safe. Even Syria, 2015, the media, the left, criticising David Cameron about the small number of people he was willing to take, 20,000 over 4 years. And the British public went, no, we're happy with the policy. Thank you very much. We don't want those people. It's been a disaster for Germany. It's been a disaster for Sweden. They're regretting it. They are seeing their voters turn around. The British people have spoken. Why do the political political media classes insist on saying, we know you told us you don't want any more people, but we're going to take some more in anyway.
I don't think the British people have said that they don't want any more.
Yeah, they have. Election after election, and referendum after referendum.
We saw 200,000 people open their homes to Ukrainian, and we see so many more open their homes to refugee hosting every day. The bottom line is, as I say, if you want managed borders, safe routes are critical to managing your borders. If you don't want to provide safe routes, you will continue to have high levels of irregular migration.
You can provide as many safe routes as you want. There will still be young men who are going to get on rickety boats and paid thousands of pounds to people smugglers. Louise Calvey, I could chat with you for the next hour. I hope you'll come on again. It's been great to debate with you, independent refugees and asylum specialists.